This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, a new nationwide registry reveals New Zealand's gender pay gap is growing. Tweaks rather than shake-ups after a major report into the country's supermarket industry. And not all bluff oysters are created equal, as some new season supplies disappoint. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. A new nationwide public registry has been launched today with the aim of bringing New Zealand's gender pay gap into the spotlight. The Clear Foundation chose International Women's Day to launch the Mind the Gap registry, and an Otago academic says there's still a significant difference between what men and women are paid for the same job.
The Equal Pay Act of 1972 was amended in 2020 to make it illegal to pay male and female workers differently if they are equal in every way except gender. But Associate Professor Helen Roberts says today's study shows there are still discrepancies.
So for a long time everyone thought it was family responsibilities and the age of the person, the type of job they did and their education. But actually a study that was commissioned by the Ministry of Women using 2015 income survey data showed that those factors really don't explain the pay gap at all, and it appears that a lot of that gap is just due to some kind of unconscious bias, potentially discrimination in the workplace.
Figures released today by Mind the Gap NZ show there is still a noticeable distance between what men and women are paid for doing the same job. Roberts says the gap is closing for some, but not all wahine.
That's interesting. The gap definitely overall has shrunk, but with women aged 30 up to the end of age 64, actually the wage gap is still quite high and has increased in the last few years.
The Mind the Gap survey shows the gap between the pay for older men and women is currently 16%. Roberts says this is among the highest in the developed world. For many years, the expression the glass ceiling has been used in many workplaces, describing an invisible barrier between how high up company ladders women can go compared with men. Roberts says it's time to smash the glass ceilings.
It's time to get rid of them. We need to have more women moving up the organisation faster, getting equal pay rises, equal opportunities with their male counterparts, and creating workplaces that support them being able to do that.
The pay gap isn't just between men and women. Figures show there are significant gaps along racial lines as well. Reporting to Mind the Gap NZ is voluntary, but the organisation says it can identify any pay equity issues an organisation may need to correct to stay in line with the revised Equal Pay Act. In Dunedin, the South Today.
One Dunedin builder is worried the city's building boom could be brought to a halt if vital materials aren't released urgently. Shipping delays and COVID-19 lockdowns have caused shortages for basic building materials, including timber, which in turn is causing lengthy delays for the cost blowouts for projects. Local builders say the situation is being made worse by some large contribution companies holding onto extra stock. The Master Builders Association says it doesn't condone this kind of anti-competitive behaviour, while the Commerce Commission is already looking at competition in the market. The long-awaited Commerce Commission report into New Zealand's supermarket industry was released earlier today. The report found a duopoly between the two major players is shutting out others from the market, while forcing suppliers to accept lower prices for access to the major chains.
The Commerce Commission announced this morning the key finding from its earlier draft report remains unchanged. Competition in this sector is not working well for consumers.
Foodstuffs and Woolworths are uniquely placed to provide consumers with what we know matters to them most. And that is a wide range of groceries at locations that they can easily access, both in-store and online, and at prices which are generally lower than the prices that are available to consumers in other locations.
Major grocery retailers are able to operate the convenience of one-stop shopping, but the intensity of competition between the two operators is muted. Commerce Minister David Clark says the Commerce Commission's report is pretty clear.
Competition in the retail grocery sector is not working as well as it could be. Consumers could have access to better prices, quality and range if competition was working better in the sector.
Dr Clark says the report has found Foodstuffs and Woolworths are making more than double what the Commerce Commission considers a fair rate of return on capital.
When we see the major supermarkets taking profits out that on a conservative estimate in the Commission's report is around $1 million every day out of Kiwis' pockets, we want to make sure that we've got the measures right.
The report found other diverse retailers are unable to compete effectively for consumers' grocery spend. One key conclusion is that competitors looking to expand or enter the market face significant challenges, including securing retail sites and sourcing the wholesale supply of groceries at attractive prices.
This has had the effect of reducing our assessment of profitability for the major grocery retailers, but our estimates of returns are still higher than we would expect of a normal return for grocery retailing in New Zealand.
The Commerce Commission hopes to improve with a new mandatory grocery code of conduct and has fewer concerns over the claims of price gouging by the major grocery retailers after receiving submissions and new information.
First, we've recommended measures to improve the conditions for new retailers to enter this sector and for existing retailers to expand.
David Clark says the government accepts the Commission's findings, saying they plan to address the 14 recommendations in the report, beginning with looking at how Resource Management Act legislation can be eased to accommodate new competitors into the market. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A Dunedin woman has pleaded guilty to being an accessory to homicide. The 48-year-old appeared in the High Court at Dunedin today, where she pleaded guilty to the charge. However, all the facts surrounding the case are suppressed until sentencing in May. Hairdresser Naomi Morrison has been charged with the murder of 41-year-old Ameria Whatuira in Dunedin. The victim's body was found at a Glenleith property in October last year, but police investigations found she died weeks earlier. Oysters could be harder to come by this season and possibly a little pricier for consumers. The oyster season began last week with some initial supply issues due to a lack of courier and trucking capacity. Now, oyster fishers and processors are reporting the size and quality of the popular delicacies is less impressive than usual. Manager of Barnes Wild Bluff Oysters, Graham Wright, says about 11,000 dozen oysters were processed in his factory last week. But boat skippers out in Fovo Strait had found 30 to 40% of their catch was being classed as second-grade oysters. However, there was no sign at this stage of the Boinamia parasites in the fishery or in the oysters being dredged. Whaiakene still to come on the South Today. Concerns more than 1,000 people may have had an ineffective COVID-19 jab, and a Southland farmer tries to set a new world record.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Spark your joy with jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Hi, we're H Concerno Otago.
H Concerno Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including little bobs.
Hake hake he waipu
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
My mate John's a real armchair warrior, because he's fighting high-priced lounge furniture. He's taken 25% off all lounge. All 25% off!
And my mate John...
Hi there, guess who? You recognise the eyes? Oh, okay, it's a haircut. Anyway, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores are carrying on as usual. Despite what's happening in the world, we have got some great stock for you. Personally, I've spent 50 years in this business, and we have some excellent supplier relationships. We've got great stock, it's hand-picked, it's here, it's on time, and it's ready for this great summer.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits!
So, as my favourite cup says, keep calm and carry on.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Welcome back to the South Today. Economists from ANZ are tipping mortgage interest rates to soar in the coming months, while house prices are expected to fall further. ANZ is tipping back-to-back 0.5% hikes for the official cash rate in April and May, after a big spike in oil and commodity prices due to the war in Ukraine. However, the bank is also warning house prices will fall by as much as 10% this year. That would put pressure on those trying to sell or upgrade their homes, but could be good news for people trying to get into the market. The official cash rate is expected to reach a peak of 3.5% next April. The Southern District Health Board is contacting people who may have received an ineffective COVID vaccine in central Otago. The Southern DHB says a health provider administering vaccines in the Queenstown Lakes area had stored them at an incorrect temperature. It's believed the blunder may have affected more than 1,500 people who received vaccinations around Queenstown and central Otago over December and January. The DHB says the problem poses no potential health problems, but might mean they had a lower level of protection. Recipients are being encouraged to get revaccinated, with an investigation underway to find out how the mistake occurred. A team harvesting wheat in Southland were on tenterhooks recently. The farmers were hoping to set a new world record for the Otama crop for tonnes of wheat per hectare.
Hoping for a world record-beating crop of wheat, this paddock on a river flat farm at Otama in Southland is owned by Mike Solari and his wife Margaret. And even before the latest crop of wheat was sown, it was tipped to yield a record harvest. Solari practices crop rotation, with a paddock used to fatten lambs and then grow nitrogen-fixing peas prior to planting wheat every 9th year.
After pea straw ploughed in, this was peas last year. It's the second year that I've chopped pea straw and ploughed it in. What's good for people's gardens, I reckon, is good for our wheat.
Solari previously broke the world record in 2010 with a wheat crop that yielded 15.5 tonnes per hectare. That record was beaten in Ashburton 2 years ago with a 17 tonne per hectare crop. Then last April, Nick Hishin of PGG Wrightson had the confidence to enter the Otama paddock as a fresh world record attempt. He says while everything was done right, a dry spell over January could end up limiting the crop.
It's a pretty solid crop of wheat. Mike only grows good crops around here, and yeah, it's been a pretty good season. Did get a wee bit hot and dry in January, but out of all Mike's wheat crops, this one's definitely held on the longest, so yeah, we'll just have to wait in anticipation and see how it goes over the weighbridge.
In the end, the field yielded a crop of 15.7 tonnes per hectare, which was Solari's best crop in 48 years, but still short of the world record. He turned 80 over the weekend and reckons farming is very much a group effort.
It's a challenge each year to do the job better, and working with the team, with Nick and Graham Jones from Ashburton too, between the two of them, it's an interesting team to work with.
The wheat variety planted was Firelight, chosen for its disease resistance. In Otama, the south today.
Whaiakene on the break, after the break on the south today. Otago para-alpine skier Adam Hall celebrates a medal at the Winter Olympics, and we take a look at tomorrow's weather.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
My mate John's a real armchair warrior, because he's fighting high-priced lounge furniture. He's taken 25% off all lounge. Lounge suites, armchairs, two-seaters, three-seater recliners, corner suites, chaises, sofa beds, lifted chairs and more. All 25% off. Plus pay it off over 24 months interest-free. This weekend at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street, and online.
Get that furniture from Stafford Street. And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
What have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it. Chicks World. Chicks World. Right.
Otago para-alpine skier Adam Hall produced a strong performance at his 5th Winter Paralympics last night to win a 4th Korea medal in Beijing. The Wanaka-based 34-year-old won bronze in the standing super combined event, moving up from 15th place to 3rd during the slalom section. Hall won bronze medal in the same event at the 2018 Paralympics and holds 2 Paralympic golds in his specialist slalom events, which will be raced on Saturday. Fellow New Zealander Aaron Ewan crashed on his second run. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. The launch of a new nationwide registry reveals New Zealand's gender pay gap is growing in some areas. A shake-up but no major intervention for the supermarket and grocery sector following the Commerce Commission's final report. And not all of this year's crop of bluff oysters are created equal, as stocks of second-grade shellfish disappoint and put pressure on supplies. And now we'll look at what's happening in today's ODT, joined by our associate editor here, Jo Simpson. What have you got for us?
Hi, so the gap between Dunedin's businessmen's hope for an investigation into the supermarket competition and the Commerce Commission final report is like night and day. A $25 million flyover has been touted as the best way to remedy a problematic intersection in North Dunedin. However, a solution much less ambitious could well get the green light. And it's hardly Dunedin's dark side, but most pass-by are bemused when they see a group of adults playing with full-size lightsabers on Sunday afternoons. And a young Dunedin woman shares her experience of getting serious COVID-19 and ending up in hospital. So not just old people get serious complications.
Thank you, Jo. Sounds like a jam-packed edition tomorrow.
Thank you.
And now a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, warmer weather with a northerly over the region is on the way tomorrow. Airflow will increase through to Thursday ahead of a developing low pressure system in the Tasman Sea. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns. Along the coast, Catlins can expect moderate nor'easterlies with cloud and a high of 17. Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all in for a fine day. Light winds and a high of 19 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes, Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra can all expect light to moderate northerlies with high cloud and a high of 24. Cooler in Te Anau with 18 degrees, light northerlies and increasing cloud. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, fine for Timaru, light winds and a high of 22 degrees. Oamaru, light nor'easterlies, cloud and 19 the high. Further inland, Twizel and Omarama can expect moderate northerlies, some high cloud and a high of 25. In Dunedin, it'll be fine with high cloud increasing tonight and an overnight low of 12 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with cooler southwest winds to start, but a northeast change in the afternoon. A high of 17 and a low of 14 degrees. And it'll be cloudy with fresh breezy nor'easterlies on Thursday, a high of 15 and a low of 14 degrees. And down to Invercargill, it'll be cloudy with showers tonight and a low of 11. Any early showers will start clearing tomorrow with cloud opening up to sun. There'll be light winds tending northerly by the end of the day, a high of 19 and a low of 10 degrees. For Thursday, thick high cloud and fresh breezy northerly winds, 23 the high and a low of 13 degrees. And that's the news this Tuesday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.